welcome everybody back to the Dragon's Lair. My name is Wade, and this is my show, What I Watch, where I talk to you about the things that I watch. I'm hitting some of my favorite movies, as always. So, I want to talk to you about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom for many reasons. So, it came out in 1984, so it's like a year younger than I am. So, that puts it at like 41 right now. It comes in at just under 2 hours at an hour 58. It has an overall IMDb score at 7.5, if you care about such things. Directed by Steven Spielberg. It's number 2 in the series. It's action adventure, and it grossed $333 million. $333 million. Keep in mind, it's 41 years old. It's a pretty cool film. So it stars. Oh, didn't pull up in the order that I wanted to. It stars Harrison Ford. You know Harrison Ford. Everybody knows Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, Kate Capshaw, Ke Huy Quan, and Amrish Puri. Um, I think all of these actors are great in their own respects. Harrison Ford done so many things, Star Wars and Indiana Jones. I don't know much about Kate's acting career. I know she's done other things. Ke Huy Quan, such a cool guy. Goonies, everything, everywhere, all at once. Um, uh, Love Hurts. I think he did a comedy rom com action movie that he was great in. Sorry that I can't remember the name of that at the moment. He was in Loki season 2. Just cool guy. Love him. I don't know much about the career of Mr. Puri, but I have, looking this up, I have seen that he did a lot of work in Indian cinema. So those are the actors and actress at work here. Great performances, and I will say, Mr. Puri, your villain um, is really one for the ages. I mean, everyone remembers Molaram. Sorry, I couldn't think of his name. Everyone remembers Molaram. Psychic surgery, that's him grabbing people's hearts out of their bodies. Um, just a fun villain and great monologuing. This was where we get that standard of villain monologuing from. This is the era. And so you, sir, contributed to the era. There's great Indiana Jones shenanigans in this movie. So there's callbacks to the very first Indiana Jones movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's like a scene where there's a guy with a Saracen sword, and Indiana Jones pulls his pistol and shoots the guy after he does this really cool flourish. And there's a scene in this movie where a bunch of dudes with swords are like, ha ha ha, and he goes to grab his pistol, and it's not in the holster. And it's a cool callback to that. So if you've liked Raiders of the Lost Ark, this is in the same vein. So it is one of the older ones, so it doesn't carry the stigma of the newer ones if you're not a fan. I do have some warnings. If you're a parent, I gotta tell you, there's some mild sex themes here. There's lots of action, punching, shooting, people getting thrown off of things and blowing up and falling into lava. There's some mild swearing, and there is some drug and alcohol use, smoking, drinking alcohol. There's a nightclub scene at the very beginning. So if you're a parent and you care about those things, which I think you should, that's in there. Um, the synopsis that I wrote, this is just my synopsis, is world renowned archaeologist Indiana Jones becomes stranded in rural India, and in efforts to make his way back to civilization, he becomes entangled in a plot for fortune and glory. However, evil is afoot and bent on world domination. Will Indy get the prize? Will he save the day? Or will he discover the true meaning of the phrase, anything goes? Anything Goes is a reference to a musical number that happens at the beginning of the movie, which is a little weird because inside of the musical number, you're like transported to a space that doesn't seem to exist inside of reality. It's very weird. It's kind of meta. But if you can block that out of your memory for just a minute, It's a pretty cool musical number. Um, I always enjoyed it. I didn't know how famous of a song that it was until I started to hear it in other places performed by other people. So that's a cool thing. I love this film. I grew up with it. So I come from I want to say a farming family. We owned a farm. We had a farm. We didn't farm the land. We did raise animals. So as a farm kid, I've done hay several times in my life. The point that I'm trying to make there is we were a no nonsense, hardworking family. But this was a VHS that we owned. We had this VHS, and man, I wore it out. It was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. um, One of the things that's really cool is Indiana Jones is a good guy who does good things. Now, does he punch bad guys? Absolutely. Does he blow up cars with Nazis in them? Absolutely. Actual World War II Nazis, not 2026 Nazis. Not getting political, but I'm just saying there's a difference. There's whimsical action where he, will use his whip to grab somebody, or, where, like I talked about, where he went to pull his pistol and it's not there. So there's cool stuff like that. Um, I what I always liked about Indiana Jones is you got to go somewhere and see stuff, and that's one thing I enjoy as an adult. So you do get to see some Indian culture, although I would say the presentation of it is probably very Hollywood dressed up. So actual people from actual India would be able to tell you how it's fake, what's fake and what's not. Um, and I don't think it was done in a disrespectful way. I just think it was done in a how do we do this reasonably with our budget and make it look good. Yeah. So like, I don't think it was done in a disrespectful way. There are some pretty cool chase scenes in this movie. Like there's a cool chase scene in the beginning. There's a pretty cool chase scene at the end. Um, so if you like chases, that's a thing. There were some really large sets, and at least one of these sets you can see that it's a model. It's only a model. But there was some really cool big sets with multi layers and different things like that, outside sets and things like that, which I really enjoyed. There's an awesome bridge scene, an awesome bridge scene. Once again, an iconic movie because anytime you think of people on a rope bridge fighting over, if you play a lot of D&D like I do, people on a rope bridge fighting over the bridge and what characters are going to do, you know what's coming. He's not nuts. He's crazy. Bunch of great quotes from the movie as I've been dropping them all throughout this video. um, in the end, it does have some 1980s rough around the edges stuff in it that may not have aged very well because Indiana Jones is a, you know, grab the lady by the hips and give her a strong smooching kind of guy, and some people don't like that anymore. He's a 1980s guy. It's a 1980s movie, but it's set further back in time than that. So you got to understand that, right? You got to understand that. So it's it's a movie from wow, 45 years ago, even longer, 50 years ago, that is talking about an even older time period. So just wear that hat, put those glasses on, understand where cinema was at the time. Um, some of the drugs and alcohol use, it happens, but it's nothing in comparison to what we see now. And none of the action is gory or blatant. It's all very like the action that you'd see at Disney. There's even an Indiana Jones stunt spectacular at Disney. It includes similar type stuff. Anyways, I really like this movie. I encourage you to go out and to watch it. I mean, it's like I said, it's 50 years old at this point in time. So if you haven't seen Temple of Doom, there's going to be no surprises. And if you are surprised, I am excited for you because watch it for the first time. um, I will say these two things. I think there's a really strong scene that resonates with me where he's got a choice and he chooses to save a bunch of children. It's one of my favorite scenes in all of movie history. And focus in on that when you watch the movie. That's what I do. And there also, this is my favorite Dan Aykroyd movie, and I encourage you to look for him and to try to find him. We here at that's a joke. It's not my favorite Dan Aykroyd movie. We here at the Dragon's Lair want to say thank you for spending your time with us at the Dragon's Lair.